start with that opening statement from Coach and then open up for questions.
Yeah, good morning. Here we go, late February, 3 games left, obviously coming off of a disappointing one against TCU. We can talk about that, I guess, a little bit more if you have some questions. But at this point for us, it's put all of our attention to Oklahoma State and then the remaining games that follow that one. Still in a decent spot, I guess, but we don't control it, and that's the disappointing part is you always want to control it if you can. So unfortunately, we don't do that at this point. We're going to need a little help for a Big 12 title, but there's still plenty on the line from seedings to double buys to NCAA tournaments implications. So anyway, yeah, like I said, we'll keep moving forward. We're still in a good place. We've worked really hard to put ourselves in this position. Have a really good Oklahoma State team coming up, so we got to put a lot of focus on that one. But other than that, yeah, feel okay, and we'll get back after it.
Coach, just the art of rebounding from that, you put so much into that kind of matchup. Like you said, there's still games to play, a lot to play for. Any concerns about getting over that emotional hump to prepare for the other games still to come?
No, I don't think so. And you go this league, you just you do it quite often. I guess is you just don't have a lot of time. We actually do have more time. This is technically, I guess, our bye week, I guess, or we don't have a midweek game, so we have a little bit more time. Got to take a couple days off. Had some crazy travel getting home the other night, so that was maybe a good time. Thankfully, we don't play today. If we did play today, maybe I might be a little more worried. But we have plenty of time to kind of get over that one and make sure we get ready for the next.
What happened getting home the other night?
Fog. So we had to land in Charleston and then basically spend the night. So we landed at about 3:30, I think, and then found hotel rooms but couldn't get transportation. So that was a kind of a pain. The fog warning was still through the next morning at 11, and then the pilots were going to time out. So then we couldn't get back via plane. So we ended up just leaving at 11 on a bus. So I think we got back at 1:30 or 2 Monday. So just made that trip a little bit longer than it needed to be. It's not so much fun after a loss either when that's you're sitting in the Charleston airport. They do have good cookies and popcorn though. If anybody's ever there, it's pretty good. So some of us were entertained, some were sleeping, but we finally got everybody to the hotel and got 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then got back on the bus.
What's it like having this really late bye?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had one this late. I was trying to think back. This is really, really late to kind of be having the bye, and this is where you kind of actually want rhythm a little bit, and you want to keep playing and probably find some routine. But it's what it is, so there's nothing you can do about it. So we'll use it hopefully to our advantage and get rested up and get the right mindset and fly around on Saturday when we get opportunity to take the court again.
First half against TCU, Riley had a couple of pick and pop threes that worked where she either ghosted or faked the screen or came off of it and hit. And second half, I don't think she played at all. Was that something that TCU was doing that you saw, or what happened there?
Yeah, probably a dumb coaching move on my part, to be honest, more than anything else. Yeah, she did offensively, hit some shots, obviously, yeah, and she can stretch the floor, and we probably should have given that another look. It did work, obviously in the first half a little bit, to our advantage. We weren't rebounding it great, though, so we wanted size. We thought Mimi would get going, or playing with CC. We had some rationale to it, but obviously looking back at it now, it's pretty easy to say, yeah, I probably should have gone back to that one. And that one, there's really no one to blame other than me on that one. Riley did what she was supposed to do, need her to rebound and rotate and do a few other things that maybe she didn't do as well as I would have liked, but that's still not any reason as to why she shouldn't have been out there.
Understandably, that changes the look of your team a lot when she's at a 4 versus Mimi and Carter and Cece inside. Is that just a decision you've got to make? Yeah, we're going to try this, or is it almost always game, flow and considerations that help drive that decision?
Yeah, I think they're usually matchup-driven decisions, whether that's an offensive matchup that you like or a defensive matchup that you maybe don't like or do like, depending on personnel and their length and size and rebounding ability is something that we had talked about going in, and we wanted to make sure we could match that or exceed it if possible. We didn't. They out rebounded us a little bit. Nothing that was crazy, but just needed a little more interior, we thought, scoring. But we didn't stretch it and make enough threes either. So it didn't work either way. So yeah, it's one that we'll sit here and evaluate and try to figure out.
Coach, Oklahoma State's offense, does it present any unique challenges to your defense that, maybe you haven't seen yet? I mean, they obviously put up a lot of points.
Yeah, no, this is, I think, the best offensive group from an efficiency standpoint, it looks like, that's in our league. They're phenomenal in transition. They can space you. They'll play small, too, at times and almost play 5 guards and, make you defend all over the perimeter. And they do shoot the three, and they can make quite a few of them, but they can get to the rim and, score different ways. But they're elite in transition. They're elite in their shot making. This is a really, really good offensive team. Maybe Villanova-ish, honestly. Probably it would maybe be a comparable at this point. And there's probably a few more in our league too, but that's the one that comes to mind just because of the versatility of, lots of different ball handlers and different people bring it up and they're in different spots in transition. So yeah, they'll put some pressure on our defense for sure.
What did TCU do on Jordan?
I don't know if they did anything particular. She probably wasn't aggressive as we would have liked her to be offensively and only had 5 shots and 4 of which were threes. And so we didn't get her downhill as much as we like. Some of their length may have had something to do with that. I haven't talked to Jordan completely about it yet. They were going under some ball screens that, I thought she had been shooting it really well, and we just didn't make them pay for doing that. And I think if maybe a couple of those had gone, she would have either kept shooting them, right, or maybe that now changes the game plan. You got to go over her, and then she can get to the rim maybe a little bit. Thought she had some good passes a couple times early in the first half for sure, and then we just could never quite get her in a rhythm in the second half.
Looking at the rankings this morning, and there's 2 teams in the top 10, one of which you guys beat with 5 players. The other one, Ohio State, that game could have gone either way. Obviously the TCU games, one game goes to the buzzer, you beat Baylor, but I would imagine that whatever happens for you guys in the postseason, from a scheduling standpoint, what you guys have experienced this year, probably make you feel pretty comfortable, I think, come March, if that's correct. I mean,
yeah, more comfortable than it has in the past, for sure. But that was the idea with the conference or the non-conference schedule, was to try to put us in position when we get here that we have some quality wins, quality opponents. Strength of schedule is up there, which I think it sits in a pretty good spot right now. So the computers, I think, like us, and we have some production there. We actually need, if we're close with a couple other opponents too, if they'll win a couple games, it may change even like the quad win or loss for that matter, depending on who it is. So, there's still a lot going on, a lot to play for. We just need to keep winning. We need to find quality wins. Obviously, Oklahoma State coming here will be a big-time quality opponent. And then, finish the 2 regular season games, and then you get conference tournament opportunities when you get there, and then hopefully, obviously, the NCAA tournament. But, I think we've put ourselves in a pretty good shot. Obviously, we gave a couple of those away, that we would have liked to have had, and that might have changed the whole dynamic of this. But I think we're right there on that 4-5, 5-4, I guess, seed line. If we can do something here, late, I think it gives us a chance in the NCAA tournament to get a home game. But I think we got to probably do something pretty special here to finish.
In my opinion, the last couple of years, the computers always seem to like what you've put out there on your resume, even the last couple of years. But then, in my opinion, the committee kind of told a different story. Are you worried about anything like that happening again this year?
No,
because
well,
it seems like your resume is.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do. I don't know that you can really do much about it. I don't know if it was human or computer. I think the computers like us more this year than they have, though, in the past, from some of the metrics and strength of schedules, and now we have wins above the bubble, those types of things that some of those weren't great. Our non-conference strength of schedule wasn't particularly good or as good. It was okay, but not as good as it is this year. So that's what I mean. I think we have a few more things going in our favor. And yes, hopefully the human component knows a little bit more about us and understands the type of program, and they're seeing some of the wins or the close losses that we have. So, I think we're in a good spot, but you always want more as a coach. That's just kind of the way it works.
This bye week, if you had played today, how many extra off days do you get now this week?
Well, you don't. I mean, you get one. I mean, we're required to take the one. We can choose to give more.
you get time off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got 2 days. I mean, we took 2 consecutive days off this week, which we haven't been able to do in quite some time. Is that what you're asking? Yeah.
One of those used for the bus ride?
It was, yeah. Unfortunately, it was, and so that did count as one of those, or maybe doesn't even technically count. So then we were probably forced to take another one off. But yeah, and it probably took us a couple days to kind of get over. It just messes up your whole sleep cycle and system when you do that. And I mean, a couple of them just didn't even go to sleep. They just went and worked out when we got to the hotel at 6 a.m. and then got back on the bus at 11 and went about their day. And then you try to make it up at night a little bit. So again, so I haven't seen him really since we got off the bus. So hopefully we'll be all right today when we see him.
Mark, your records and resumes to this point in the year, last 3 years, been pretty similar. In what ways do you think that this year's team is maybe better constructed for a deep postseason run comparing to the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, they're different. I don't know if it's better or worse yet. I guess you can ask me that when it's officially over. What we've shown throughout, that we're a little bit better rebounding team than we've ever been. At times we can score in the paint a little bit better, although we didn't at TCU, but traditionally we've been a little bit better there. Shoot it about the same from three, although I thought as this year's going, we're getting a little bit better shooting the basketball. So just some of that versatility, I guess. You're missing a Quinterly when, at times when the game's late and you have a kid that can just kind of go take over a little bit. So we're kind of bounce that back and forth from game to game, depending on who's playing well when we get in those situations. But other than that, just some of the rebounding, that maybe just some scoring at the 4 and the 5 a little bit, if that ever comes as a need. Most times we have the ability to do that.
She has obviously shown you a lot of good things throughout the course of the year, but the TCU game, did she show you, just the way she kind of stepped up in that game?
Yeah, and she's done that several times, a lot of times throughout the year. She's just not, the kid's just not scared. Like, she doesn't care if you're 6'7" and a shot blocker. She's going to play the same way, and to her credit, I thought she settled us in early because of her, kind of attack mindset. I mean, we didn't shoot a lot of free throws. I think we took, 11 or something, maybe a little bit more, but she took 8 of them. I do know that. And so she was the one attacking and, like I said, settled it down just a little bit, made a 3 in that first half off of a set, that was good for her to see that go through. So, yeah, I thought offensively she settled us in a little bit just because of that no fear attitude.
How do players kind of get to that style where, like, she's not afraid, like she's never been afraid all year? How do players develop that kind of mindset?
Yeah, I think you just sometimes have it. I think it's just like if you're a competitor, you're a competitor. It's hard to, for me to coach kids that want to compete. I think you either are a competitor or you're not. You can force them to work hard. You can put time on clocks to make them run faster. You can set up drills to make it a little more difficult, but I can't necessarily pull out the competitiveness of them all the time. And so I just think she's probably had that. I don't know if that was a raised trait or just an internal thing that she's always had. But she's certainly not scared of a moment. I do know that about that kid.
You know that when you're recruiting her, or is it until she gets here that you see
a little
that?
bit, yeah. No, you don't know to what degree, but you certainly, I think we had a pretty good idea of what we were getting in that.
Thanks, Coach.
One more.
Cam has been your bracketologist the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
How detailed are the reports that he gives?
Well, it's the timeliness of the report that's pretty good. It's I think he knows exactly to the minute. He does the same thing with the AP poll. If it's probably 12 o'clock in 1 second, and he's probably clicking it to kind of see where we're at, and bracketologies, and who we got the availability reports now, so he's pretty quick on. He's figured out how to get that one. It may not even be our game. He's just like to let us know. So he's all in. He wants to be a coach. He loves it. He's invested in it. So we'll let him keep rolling with it. I've had to kind of tame him down on some of his yelling at the officials a little bit because he gets going there too. But he's just he's so invested, and that's what you love about him is his passion. So we'll let him keep rolling. So did you have a follow up to that, Joe, or is that good? That was good. Okay. Thanks, everybody.